On this week's show, do you wonder if you will outlive your money? Let's talk about that today. In this part of Suncoast Speaks today, I've heard somewhere recently that 40% approximately of the population doesn't even have $400 set aside for emergencies, probably nothing set aside for retirement. Kind of shocking, isn't it? We start to think about all the people out there that don't know where they're going as far as the future brings, and they got to do something about it pretty darn soon. And we're going to be talking about that today with someone who knows a lot about this and how to set up people for their retirement. And we're talking with Len Strickler. Len is the CEO of LS Financial Retirement Planning, a financial talk show host also here on AM 930 The Answer from 12 to 1 on Saturdays. And Len joins us by phone right now. So, Len, it's great to have you on the program with us today.
Oh, great, Chuck. Good to be here, and thanks for having me.
Okay, what do you think about the 40% situation there? Is that pretty much a good reflection of America?
Yeah, it really is, Chuck, which is really, really sad. You know, it's, folks are out here just working hard, and times are tough. Of course, the situations we have now are even, worse with inflation the way it is. And so, yeah, it's a shame. But, I think, again, it goes back to some education. That's what I love to do. And my team here, we do a lot of financial outreach and financial education. And I think just getting folks educated a little bit more and having a plan, getting them, kind of stepping them through some things to get started with. And, the Chinese proverb, the first 1,000 miles starts with the first step, right? So we got to start somewhere.
A lot of people were instructed by their parents to put 10% aside maybe every month or every payday. And those that did that throughout their lives benefited greatly for it by compounding interest. And it's a little different now with all the interest the way it is now. But those that started at an early age have a real heads up on everybody else, don't they?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing that, when you're young, of course, you're kind of you just don't think of things so far out, But if you can just help get education, we do a lot of education at colleges. We do workshops at schools and colleges to try to get these younger folks even, to go ahead and start early. Because like you said, it's a power of compounding interest. The more time you have, obviously, the more the money's going to grow for you. And so, yeah, I think that starting, early, we also, as you know, focus quite a bit here with what we do and helping pre-retirees and retirees, but part of that is, like you said, helping young people realize that just get started, the 10% is good. I mean, pay yourself first. Make sure you pay yourself and do it religiously and, with discipline. That's something the martial arts taught me. I think I shared with them a 6-degree black belt, and I'm getting ready. I actually got a project. I'm writing a book called Self-Defense, Financial Self-Defense, and I'm also doing one for women, Financial Self-Defense for Women. But getting started, is really, really critical. And so, not only do we help retirees, pre-retirees, right, with some strategies and things, particularly if they worked and have a 401k or have, they have an IRA or whatever set up. There's some real strategy we can use to really help them, enhance that and make sure their money's safe. My number one goal with retirees is to make sure that their money is safe. And we have vehicles that we use that absolutely, they'll never lose principal. They're going to get some nice upside. And we want to make sure we can get some guaranteed lifetime income in there for them. But to your point of the younger folks, absolutely, education, getting them educated, and getting them started early is absolutely critical.
Now, what ages are we talking about here? Obviously, it's great to start if you're 25 years old, but obviously a lot of our listeners are not that in the general population. So what's a good age to start doing this? So when you're first getting married, is that a good time or what?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, if you can. I mean, I know when you're young, like me, coming up, had two boys, and I actually worked 3 jobs getting through college. My wife worked to help me get through. I mean, we're all out there working hard, but absolutely, if you can start at that early age. I mean, my brother was really good with his son, and he was a very disciplined young man. He was exceptional. He wasn't no party guy or anything. He was just very solid young man who worked hard, got his degree. But he started young. And let me tell you, he's in a position now he can retire at probably 50. Mm-hmm. And so, that's what you want to start as young as you can. I think that even educating parents, believe it or not, helping the parents to understand, hey, let's guide our kids to start this saving early. You could even start with your children. Back when my boys were growing up, man, we had the piggy bank.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yeah. And
they would do chores, and we would make them sure that they paid their, that they paid themselves. They could have a little bit of money to go buy, we didn't let them buy junk, but, we would let them have some money, and they would be able to buy what they wanted to save up for, I don't know, some Nintendo thing or whatever. But, you can start them that young to get the concepts in.
Now, one thing, too, to be concerned with is taxes. And we can talk in part 2 or later on in the interview about the current situation as far as taxes are concerned and inflation, because that definitely hits so hard at some people, and everybody's got to be concerned about that, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's the number one thing. I mean, if you look at the retired, marketplace that my partner and I focus really heavily on, pre-retires, retirees. I mean, you look at this inflation rate right now, the number one concern in all surveys for retirees, Chuck, is will my money go the distance with me? And the reason for that is we're living longer, right? We're at medical advances. They're folks that are living into their 90s and 100s. My wife's mother's 98. I know another individual that I work with is 102. So it just, we're living longer. So this longevity risk, we've got to get that off the table and deal with it. And one of the ways, of course, is through making sure in retirement that you don't lose money. That's what I say to folks all the time when you're in retirement or pre-retirement. Folks, get a portion of your money. We're not against the market. We are financial advisors. Okay, we get that. But we're saying get a portion of that money. We teach it, whatever your age is, that's what you should have, okay, in retirement. If you're in the market, I call it the Wall Street casino. I say, folks, look, you've got to get out of that Wall Street casino and get away from the Wall Street sharks, because let me tell you whose retirement is getting built. Mm-hmm. It's theirs, yes. Okay? And I'm not knocking them because I are one, but we do things differently. When you're coming down that mountain in the distribution phase now, you're not in the accumulation phase anymore, folks. You're in the distribution phase, and all bets are off. Everything changes drastically, okay, when you're coming down that mountain. So Warren Buffett, what does he say? Warren, what's the rules of investing? Rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, don't lose money. You can't lose when you're in retirement. You'll never make it up because you're taking money out as well. So get out of that Wall Street casino. Get some of this money safe, and that's what we do, and we help folks do.
There are so many targets out there. People, think get rich overnight, and I think a lot of people fall for this, and they wind up getting severely hurt, and they really regret doing what they just did. But then they've lost that money. So I think you're right. It's beware of what's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, just in the last probably 3 weeks, I've had two women and one gentleman, and I mean, they got ripped off. It was sad. It was a Ponzi scheme. It's kind of like what's the guy's name, Madoff or whatever. I mean, it was in a smaller scale. Mm-hmm. But I mean, look, this one lady lost $400,000. That's a lot of money. Another gentleman said, Len, he said, they clipped me for probably close to $1 million. I said, you are kidding me. And again, it's especially here in Florida, Chuck, you got to be so careful. Look, we're fiduciaries, right? You want to make sure, folks, that whoever you're dealing with, you do your homework, you check it out, you make sure they're a fiduciary. I mean, really do your homework. I mean, if you don't ever use Len or you ever call Len to help you, please get some good financial counsel, because the things today, it's complicated.
Okay,
it's very
Len, in the interest of time here on segment 1 here, we're kind of short on time. We're going to cover a lot more in segment 2 here when we come back. But if you will give your website out there where people can see what you look like online, what is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just love for you to go there. It's lssafemoney.com. lssafemoney.com. Be glad to have you go there. I'll also send to you, for your listeners to call in, to my number, 844-299-0355. I'll make sure I send to you my new book, 5 Steps to a Safe and Successful Retirement. That's 844-299-0355.
I think a lot of people are in the dark as to what to do. They're kind of scared about what the future holds. It's not so much a political thing, because both parties can lead you the wrong way if you don't have that plan in place. And so, Len, we're going to take a short 2-minute break in the program here right now. So if you'll just please stay on the line. Everybody else, hold on, please. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with more of Suncoast Speaks with Len Strickler. Len is a head of LS Financial Retirement Planning, over 30 years of experience, so he knows what he's talking about, and he's got some great ideas and great wisdom to share with you. Like, once again, now with Len Strickler. Len is the CEO and head of LS Financial Retirement Planning. Len has over 30 years of experience, and he knows what he's talking about. He also has a weekly show, Let's Talk Safe Money, on AM 930 The Answer, 12 to noon, Saturdays on AM 930 The Answer, right here in Sarasota and the Suncoast. And so, Len, we talked about some important things in part 1, and the importance of saving from an early age, but a lot of people didn't do that. Some people don't have much money to invest, but those that did, and they have a retirement plan, but they still don't want to run out of money at the end. So let's talk about your plan, the 5 keys. I know you like to talk about that, and explain that in some detail, if you will.
Yeah, the way I kind of go over that, Chuck, is, I like to think in stories, and I like to tell stories aloud on my radio and TV program. I also have a TV program here on Fox on Sundays here in the Miami area. And I like to talk about my kids, because I learned more from my kids growing up, with them growing up. But kids are amazing to watch. They're incredibly smart, very astute, and they're the best salesmen in the world. But at any rate, I think about, putting together a puzzle. And so let's say you're going to invite some friends over, the family and some friends. You're going to put together this 1,000-piece puzzle, and you see all the pieces on the table, and you discover that little Johnny, my son, lost the box, okay? And now, what does the box do? The box gives you a picture of the puzzle, right? So all of a sudden, you don't have a box. Now, do you think you're going to be able to put that puzzle together? Well, probably if you stay with it, but it's going to be very frustrating, and it's going to take you a whole lot more time. Folks, here's the thing. We have the pieces to the puzzle. My partner Art and I have been doing it 32 years here. I call him the master chef. He was actually a credentialed stockbroker. I do the outbound stuff like I'm doing here. I love doing this stuff, and I always say, hey, I love people, Art, not so much. No, I'm kidding. Art's a great guy, but he loves doing behind-the-scene analysis, and that's what he does. He does a great job. So we actually put the pieces to the puzzle together for you. And we talked about 5 pieces to the puzzle, particularly here now in pre-retirement and retirement. Number 1, we want to make sure, again, that you get your money safe. Nobody's going to look at Len Strickler in the eye and say, Len, you lost my money. It's not going to happen, because I don't put your money there, okay? I put your money in vehicles that are going to give you guaranteed lifetime income. You're never going to lose your principal, okay? And you're going to get some decent upside, okay, of an index. Now, the puzzle, number 1, safety. We've got to do what we call a principal protection plan for you. I don't want you to lose your principal. Number 2 is the income analyzer. We do both of these things. We have for example, on the safety principal protection plan, I'll do a scorecard for you comparing 4 of the top vehicles that we have, okay, showing you everything about them, and then letting you look at them and decide if that's something you'd like to do. All right. Number 2 is the income analyzer. We also offer that complimentary. where we will look and see if your income's going to go the distance with you, because that's the key. Will you have enough money to go the distance? And so that's called the income analyzer. It's number two. Number three is Social Security. We've got to maximize your Social Security. The married couple, that's, if you live to 86, 80, whatever the average age is now, I think it's probably 86 maybe for women, maybe a little less for men. But, that's over $1 million, folks, of money that's going to come in to that household. So we got to maximize that. And I'm NSA certified. We know what we're doing with that. We got a team behind us, so we can help you with your Social Security. Number four is taxes. All right. Everybody knows. Let me always ask a question when I do this, Chuck. I say in my workshops, folks, how many of you think taxes are going to go down? I don't usually very.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, where are we at now, Chuck? We're at $30 million or $1 trillion in debt.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
And we keep printing more money. So, guys, it can be ugly. We have got to take a look at taxes. Now, we have a CEO on board with our CPA on board. She's also CFP and a registered investment advisor rep. And she is a co-founder of our company, 𝗀𝗃𝗄𝐿. She's been doing this for 25 years. And we literally actually help folks get off the IRS radar screen, okay, and get into what we call tax-free bucket. Now, we teach this in our workshops and our seminars, et cetera. But there's two things that go in that bucket, only two things. Number one is anything Roth. Okay, so we got to figure out how to get you some Roth conversions going. Anything Roth. And number two, life insurance. But we flip life insurance upside down. And we get as least as the IRS will allow us, as little as life insurance as we can, and we then grow this inside with another vehicle where it grows like crazy. And the key is when you take life insurance out or a Roth, they're both tax-free. So that's what we want to try to get you to. And number five is legacy. I have a lot of my clients say, Len, look, I'm okay. I don't, I'm up in my 80s. I just want to leave some to my grandkids or my family or my trust. We help you do that. We help you plan your legacy. There are the 5 steps, Chuck.
Those are pretty easy to understand that, too. It's sequential. So I like the way it goes from one step to the next, to the next, to the next, and the next. And it sounds like it's pretty well laid out for the layman to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the things that I'm trying to do when I'm on project where I told you 6th-degree black belt. I love the martial arts. It taught me so many things about business, about balance, focus, discipline, just a lot of things that I apply, to business. And I'm working on a book called Financial Self-Defense. But I believe in laying this stuff out to the lay people. I mean, again, we're financial advisors, but over the years, every industry has their jargon, Chuck. But my goodness, we are so, come on. We got so much jargon, and people don't understand half the stuff they hear from these stockbrokers or these talking heads, buying options, buying on margin, buying on the down. You could go on derivative. The jargon is unbelievable. So I like to keep things simple, and that's how I do it. That's how I write. That's how I hope I speak.
Now, what do you think, Len, about the dollar being the standard currency? What do you think about that?
That's a big thing, man. I got to tell you, I really don't know. That's something that probably the economists and it's over my head. There's a lot of different schools of thought out there, man. That may be going away. You get into all kind of geopolitical things and China. The economic, what's going on there. It's kind of a mess, really. I'll be honest with you. Then you got your whole cryptocurrency and thinking that, okay, that's going to take over and be the kind of the standard for how we do business. That's hard to say. All I know is that I keep an eye on things like that, my partner and I, but we basically say, okay, here's the game plan. Here's the rules we have. Here's the field we're playing on. Here's the foul lines. Here's the goalpost, what we got right now. And that's kind of what I try to focus on, Chuck.
Well, a lot of people don't want to be blindsided by something that comes down the pike, and they weren't ready for it. And sounds like your plan here is not to let that happen, to get ahead of the game and not just be blindsided by something that rolls down the hill and they're not ready for it.
Well, that's correct. And one of the things we do believe in, of course, obviously, is you got to have a plan. I mean, people will plan their vacation more than they will their financial future, right? Well, you have some statistics that were kind of pointing that out too as well. But, you got to have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, well, I used to do these when I did motivational speaking. I used to talk about Alice in Wonderland, right? She comes skipping down the path.
Yep.
There's multiple paths in front of her, and she comes to the Cheshire Cat. And the Cheshire Cat, she says, which road should I take, she says. And the Cheshire Cat says, well, where are you going? She says, I don't know. And he says, well, I guess any road will do. You see, here's the fact, folks. You're going to end up somewhere. But is it where you really want to end up? You got to have a plan. So that's very important, I think, Chuck, is coming in. And look, it may be a little intimidating. We make it as, it's not like going to the dentist, folks, okay? We come in, and I want to get to know you. I take my time. Our first meeting is I just want to get to know you. I don't even want to talk about finance, unless you want to, of course. But, I mean, look, I want to know who you are, what your goals are, where you're headed, where your kids, what are your plans for your family? And then I can really start to help you. So, yeah, a plan is very important.
Now, you have this plan that the 5 keys, this is something that you can email out to somebody, isn't it? They can download that?
Actually, the principal protection plan and the income analyzer, yes, we can do that. And we do, by the way, with the COVID, of course, Chuck, we ended up doing a lot of our work on Zoom. I was kind of surprised on Zoom and on the computer, where we would send out this, like you said, send this out in a PDF file, right? And then step the clients through the plan and, hey, go to page 1, go to page, and just step through it together in a conversation. I was surprised that we kind of had our best year during COVID. It really blew me away, because we were doing a lot of workshops and teaching in colleges and things like that. And when COVID hit, man, it shut that all down. So what I'm saying to you is this. You can either come in and see us. We'd love to have you come into our offices. I do have offices in Sarasota, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Naples. Carrie, my CPA partner, has an office in Bonita Springs as well. So we're kind of all over South Florida. But I can also do a Zoom call with you folks if you'd rather, or do a on-the-phone consultation with you. And so, yeah, to answer your question, we can get the plan to them in many different formats. Some folks, believe it or not, say, man, look, I still got a flip phone.
Okay. Okay, Len, we got just about half a minute left here to go, but just want to tell you what a pleasure it was to talk to you about saving money, being prepared for retirement financially. You've been doing this for a good long time, and you've got a lot of experience. And the plan, you got a lot of satisfied customers from what I hear, and clients. So thanks so much for being on the program today, Len, and continued success with your programs here and on the radio, as well as online, and so all the other services you provide.
Just if folks need to talk to me, just give me a call at 844-299-0355.
All right. Thank you so much, Len. Have a great day.
All right. You too. Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks to Len Strickler, CEO of LS Financial Retirement Planning, for being with us on today's program.